Alright guys, welcome back to another Opera Omnia video, where we are back for another Who Should You BT Plus video. And in this video, we are going to be covering Vaan and Ciaran. Now, both of these two BT units are very solid units. They're going to be getting their C90s, their rework. Ciaran will finally be getting his BT weapon, and of course, both of them will be getting their BT Pluses. Now, if you haven't been to any of my previous Who Should You BT Plus videos, basically what we do is that we are only focusing on the BT units that are going to be coming up here very soon. We're going to be covering their reworks, what they're going to be getting with their changes and whatnot, and then my good friend Ciaran, he will be talking about the pros and cons for both of these two units, and also talk about some characters that would work well with either Ciaran or Vaan. So, as always, if you guys do enjoy the video, consider liking the video and subscribing for future Opera Omnia content. Let us know down in the comment section below what your plans are going to be for either Vaan or Ciaran. If you're going to pull for them, or you're going to pass up on them, or are you going to green them? So with that being said though, let's go ahead and jump right into it. We're going to first start off with Vaan, Ciaran, and then towards the end of the video, we'll let you guys know on what we are planning to do ourselves. So we'll first start off with Vaan's rework, which is going to be for his LD extension, which turns his LD ability into a 3-hit AoE Magic Brave, plus an AoE HP attack 6 times that increases Brave by 50% of the HP damage dealt after each HP attack except for the last. He also extends his Mist buff to 4 turns and also improves the Flight to Freedom buff by adding an additional 10% HP damage, now being a total of 20%. With his C90, regardless of which version you are using of his EX ability, it now turns into a 5-hit Fire Magic Brave, plus an HP attack 3 times that deals 50% splash damage. The plus version of his EX ability triggers twice. Now with his C65, it got extended to 4 turns and increases Brave gain to 100% of his attack. It also adds a 10% attack up, now being a total of 30%, and a 30% Brave damage cap up. Now Vaan gets his BT Plus. At 0 out of 3, it becomes a 12-hit Magic Brave plus an HP attack 2 times. At 1 out of 3, he gains an additional turn during BT phase. At 2 out of 3, his BT effect gets extended to 8 turns. From his LD extension, it lowers the target's element resist during attack, and then he adds the following to his BT effect. His BT effect now adds a 20% party Brave damage up, a 20% party HP damage up, a 20% Brave damage cap up, 20% max Brave cap up, and a 20% Brave gains up, and this is all for the entire party if you do decide to fully realize Vaan's BT weapon. So now we're going to move on to the pros and cons for Vaan, and we have the good Samaritan of the community, Ciaran Cortez. Welcome, man. How's the bedroom? I know this joke is getting old and everything, but you know, I had to say it one last time.
I was gonna say it's comfy, but like I'm a good Samaritan now. Holy, right? I will take good Samaritan. Good to be back. Apparently, Lost doesn't know I'm kind of low-key angry, but it's okay. As a Baron, I'll be fine.
As a Baron, alright, BC.
Yo, all right, let's move on to the pros and cons for Vaan. Glad to be back, and we're gonna get a chance to go right into Vaan. Vaan got a massive touch-up. I appreciate the touch-up, but it wasn't really that massive, just lots more HP dumps. So the pros right off the bat, there is going to be literally the Imperial for him. There's literally nothing that he cannot hit. He will always hit weakness when it comes down to his damage output. If you want a person that can literally nuke something to death, this guy is going to be your man for that. I know we have other damage dealers who did come before, but it's very hard to write off a unit who can impale themselves with their own elements and deal damage according to those elements every single time without fail. The next one is his next pro for sure is going to be his ability to be very, very long-winded. In a single target fight or in an AoE fight, with his LD on, you're going to be able to have a lot of free skill usages going out, And on top of that, like with his BT effect and his BT plus, he's going to be able to hit ridiculously hard along with everything else set up properly with him. There's not a lot more that needs to be said about him, because when it does come down to a C90, he becomes very, very self-sufficient. It was very hard to come up with pros and cons for him, because as a DPS with full investment, and this is going towards the con section, if you're not fully investing into him, he can be a little bit shorter than what he would be if you maximized him, but definitely would have to say for sure, give him full investment. If you really, really want your Vaan to be doing the numbers that he can do. Another, not really a bad thing about him, but it's just something that can be pointed out. We all know in the community that HP cap up is a hell of a drug, and Vaan kind of sort of lacks that for his own personal kit. So if you can run him next to another BT unit that can increase the HP cap up overall, his performance jumps again and goes to even higher lengths. So ideally, you definitely want to be able to put him in a team comp that supports him in that fashion. Like when it definitely comes down to his damage, I don't think you're going to be having any issues there. And the last one, but again, definitely want to be pointed out that with the investment cost for him, it definitely just requires him to have blue armor and to give him the ultimate weapon, which is going to be the sword, and it's going to be pretty much mandatory if you really, really want him to be able to hit hard. If you just want to be like suboptimal, or if you just want to be able to just give him his BT plus, he operates just fine with that. But the idea is he has so many HP, dumps in his kit that you want them to always cap in his kit, always. Another thing that we can talk about that should be pointed out as well is that if there are going to be fights where the boss becomes, or where the bosses have ridiculously high brave reductions or brave gain reductions, then you would definitely want to stick him next to a unit who can help him. It shouldn't be too bad for him, but we definitely get stages in the future where they do have really, really bad brave gain reductions. So you definitely want to stick him with other units who can help him out here. For the future, for references, we're going to be talking about the BT characters who work well with him, and I'm going to just point out the one. The biggest one I could think about for sure, because he does come out with Ciaran, I would definitely say for sure for a BT effect or a partner that works well with him would definitely be Ramza, just because Ramza does have the ability to delay, and on top of that, battery everybody fairly decently. And with Ramza being in the group for Vaan can be a main DPS and just focus on his main DPS role while he does get buffs, and on top of that, being able to keep the HP cap up that we were talking about from before. He doesn't have HP cap up innately in his kit. He definitely has HP damage up in his BT effect, but giving him HP damage cap up will definitely make him hit harder. Besides from the obvious Ciaran that will be working with them, those two next to Vaan make him an absolute beast of a monster. But as far as LD units or like a general use unit that work well with him, I think the best one I could probably think about is if you're going to be running him like calls like, we'll definitely say Kate Sith, Zaz, or ideally if you want to have them in the party, they'll definitely help him out too. But mostly if you're looking for damage output or to increase his damage output, I think the safest bet for anybody would definitely be running him with units who can definitely increase his HP damage output or HP cap up overall. And generally Vaan, as I said before, it's very hard to come up with cons for him because of he's so self-sufficient. But with that being the case, I think everybody's going to be good with the new C90 Vaan. If you like him, he's going to be able to hit extremely hard.
やってみせる。行くぞ。せい。まだまだ。切り開く。これでどうだ。
Now we'll jump into Ciaran. Now his rework to his skill 1 becomes a 5-hit melee brave, plus an HP attack 3 times that increases brave by 30% of the HP damage dealt after each HP attack except for the last. His skill 2, Holy Strike, is a 3-hit holy melee brave, plus an HP attack 2 times that increases brave by 30% of the HP damage dealt after the first HP attack, When you have 5 stacks of his overhead active, it changes his skill 2 to Holy Raw Strike. that becomes a 3-hit Holy Melee Brave plus an HP attack 4 times that increases Brave by 30% of the HP damage dealt after each HP attack except for the last. It now deals 100% splash damage after each HP attack, and this only applies to the Holy Raw Strike ability. Now his LD extension turns his LD ability into a 4-hit AoE Melee Brave plus an AoE HP attack 4 times that increases Brave by 30% of the HP damage dealt after each HP attack except for the last. It also extends the World's Memories buff to 9 turns. Now with his C90, his EX ability turns into a 6-hit AoE Melee Brave plus an AoE HP attack 3 times that increases Brave by 30% of the HP damage dealt after each HP attack except for the last. The buff Memories of Chronicles adds a Brave regen by 40% of initial Brave and a 20% HP damage up. His C65 got extended to 7 turns. It grants 5 stacks of his overhead and adds a 10% party stolen and gained max Brave overflow up and a 10% party Brave gains up. Now his BT, Power of Memories, is a 15-hit AoE Melee Brave plus an AoE HP attack that deals split HP damage and grants the Power of Memories BT effect for 8 turns. At 0 out of 3, his BT attack turns into an 8-hit AoE Melee Brave plus an AoE HP attack 2 times that increases Brave by 50% of the HP damage dealt after the first HP attack. At 1 out of 3, you gain an additional turn during BT phase. At 2 out of 3, he gains the following with his BT effect. Now, this is based on the amount of stacks that you have with his overhead, and more than likely you are going to be having 5 stacks on his overhead. So we're just going to only read off what you will actually get with 5 stacks, but you can take a look at the screenshot that I snagged from the Dissidia Compendium website. So this will also include what you get if you do decide to fully realize his BT weapon. So the party gets a 25% stolen max Brave overflow up, a 25% gained max Brave overflow up, a 25% HP damage up, a 50% Brave gains up. Once you add in the bottom part of this screenshot with the Brave gains up on top of the other one, then you get a total of a 50% Brave gains up, and then finally you get a 25% party max Brave cap up.
All right, now we're going to be moving on to Ciaran's pros and cons. I definitely think with this C90, he definitely got a lot of big upgrades for him. He already had his LD from before, but he definitely got pretty good touch-ups overall, especially with his EX. Ciaran, for me, I'm looking at him as his overall character. He's definitely got a lot of auras built into his kit. My God, that dude has auras. If people are looking at it, if people missed Ramza, or if newer players didn't pick up Ramza or can't pick up Ramza, now is a good time to pick up this aura bot. Ciaran does a lot of things for the team, and on top of him having a lot of things going on for the team, he can provide a lot. Pretty much for him, he can fit in just about any team comp. I don't think that there's a team comp where he doesn't really fit in. However, I would definitely think of what teams you're going to be putting him in, so that way he benefits everybody in there. Again, because of his aura capability for the team, you don't really have to worry too much about the other two, because they're going to be able to hit fairly hard with his BT effect active and his stacks, his overhead being at 5 stacks all the time. This is where we're going to be going into his con section. So his con sections is going to be a little bit different for most characters, just because of how his BT effects work. His BT effect does work if you don't have his LD active, but for his LD, with his LD active, he maintains the 5 stacks on his overhead. And you want to keep the 5 stacks on his overhead. So his BT, if you're going to be chasing that, his LD is really mandatory, just to really keep up with his BT effect. This is where both of his cons kind of come into play too. He is a jack of all trades type of character. He has Brave Shaving. He has Brave. He can actually Brave and battery the party. He has a lot of HP dumps too. He also comes with a large variety of buffs in his BT effect, and one of the BT effects is going to be Brave gains up and HP cap up. so he can definitely provide that for himself. But he provides so many things that he doesn't really do a lot of damage in his own personal kit. I think his damage for me is fine because of the team comps that people can run him in. However, I would not look at him as a main DPS. I would definitely think of him as a supportive DPS. If you need to make sure that you need to keep party members from being broken, he has the ability to do fairly large damage, can even do millions if he's hitting multiple targets. But in a single target fight, you'll definitely see his damage output go from being fairly high, being very medium or mediocre if you're going to be putting him in a single target fight. However, you're not looking at him for his damage. You have to look at him for his auras and the auras that he does provide for the team. Definitely want to say for sure, a BT character that you can put next to him would definitely be Tidus or Terra. Those two would be Turnhogger DPS that can definitely qualify as LD characters if you don't have their BT, but you have their LD their LDs. Terra and Tidus being able to really just ramp damage up, and they can have consecutive turns and consistent turns would be very, very beneficial being next to him. They'll always be able to hit cap damage, and they're always going to be able to hit really, really hard when Ciaran's next to them. Ideally, I think when it does come down to Ciaran, though, if you're going to be picking him up, and if he is a favorite, he does wonders for a team when he's in it. The only slight downside to him is that he doesn't actually have a healing built into his kit. So if you can run him next to another unit, another good idea to run him with is going to be a healer of some sort. So that way he provides the auras, and the healer can actually just provide healing as they're attacking, or provide healing overall for the team if you want to keep the team alive. If you were to put him next to Porum, absolute fun time. And then your team then has Last Stand. So there are multiple ways that you can play with Ciaran. He can be an offensive aura bot or a defensive aura bot with the correct team comps. And there are definitely team comps that I will definitely want to put him in for myself personally. Very, very overall, a very good unit to pick up.
So now we're going to end the video off with letting you guys know who we are considering or planning to BT+. And of course, you guys can let us know who or what you are going to be doing with this upcoming BT pair down in the comments section below. So Kaiden, he is the first one to go for this Who Should You BT+. So what's your plans?
I will be upfront. If I can get Ciaran's BT, I think for sure I would actually green him. Ciaran to me is a fantastic unit. I do like my aura bots, and I will be honest, I have been singing the praises of Rim this entire time. We'll keep singing them. And I do like having Rim and Ciaran. I do like the idea of having Rim and Ciaran work together, just because of the fact that the unit that I can put next to them, they're going to be extremely happy. And on top of that, I would always be able to bring them up. That would mean that I wouldn't need a Turnhogger if I have a Turn Manipulator in that team comp. And with Rim being able to bring up that DPS is going to be very, very happy with not only just Ciaran standing there, but the additional HP cap up from Rim giving them the 1-turn magic buff. It may be 1 turn, but that thing does some serious damage. Okay. For Vaan, I never got his BT on the original release, and I don't think I got his BT ever since it re-ran. So he's got a couple of times where he's shown up, and I just have not got him. If I could get him, I definitely think that I would like to actually have him. I think his damage output is actually very stellar. I just need to think of how I can go about him. And again, I've been singing Rim's praises this entire time. If I put him next to her, I'm fairly certain that'd be a fun time. But like in my honest opinion, I definitely think that for sure I would definitely work with Ciaran more than I would work with Vaan personally.
Okay, so I managed to get Ciaran's kit in JP, but I never actually greened him. But I know that he is very much worth the green, and especially if you are a fan of having party auras, he is definitely the character to go for, especially for those who did decide to BT plus Ramza like myself. Having both of them together, they do have their similarities, but they do have some differences between them, but they are both very strong aura bots that, with Ramza just standing there looking pretty, and then Ciaran, he'll stand there and look pretty and whatnot, depending on what team you got going on. But at the same time, like he'll be doing his work as well. Vaan probably one of the best DPS units that I've experienced in the JP side, and I mean, it's Vaan. Anytime he is in a team comp, he destroys. That's pretty much it. And so I greened him in JP, and like his BT effect, it's a solid one to have, especially if you pair him up with like let's say like Ramza or even Ciaran, or just like whoever it is that you have as your support. Vaan is pretty much there as a DPS unit, and he will not disappoint. He does get another rework in the future that will focus on his skills alongside with his FR, and he becomes freaking monstrous during the Shinryu era. It's insane how much damage this guy can deal. But for right now though, seeing as how I am probably going to hold off on greening Vaan, because I actually am going to green Ciaran, because I want to run a few team comps with him, especially with having him, Ramza, Garnet, him, a DPS unit, and Ramza. Like, I want to pair him and Ramza together, because like I want to stack all of the ores that I can get out of these two characters. But I know that for him in general though, like let's say if he is like my only character that is providing me with good ores, then Ciaran will definitely do me well and really a good amount of team comps, just because like he does fit well in many team comps. So this time I'm going to go with Ciaran. I'm gonna green him, and then later on for Vaan, because I already have his BT, I will green him at a later time.
I got a question. Is Garnet not a DPS now? Because I feel like she is. Forgive me, I'm a little but when you said I'm gonna stick Garnet, I'm sorry, I'm gonna stick a DPS cop with Ciaran and Ramza. I'm like, Garnet, like, have you seen her? She qualifies as a DPS now. I mean, she's literally 6 months early, man.
I mean, true, but I mean, I don't know. I just as much as Garnet is like a freaking beast now in global, like she will still remain a support character in my eyes.
Aw, nice to know that you lie to yourself. It's cool. It's fine.
Yeah. Okay.
No, hey, look, as a person who runs a saga, and I'm trying my best to keep my saga alive, trust me, I'm also full of delirium, but it's okay. I make do with my delirium.
I mean, hey, that's you know that's just me, all right? So take it as you will. So.
Fair enough.
But yeah, guys, that's pretty much what our plans are going to be for this upcoming BT Plus pair. We don't know the exact date of when they are going to be released, seeing as how, as we are recording this video, the community livestream has not gone live just yet, but it should be here in the next, or this coming week, or maybe even the following week. I don't know exactly when it's going to come out, but regardless of that, this video will be out there for you guys. Do let us know down in the comment section below what your plans are going to be for these 2 BT units. And of course, if you guys did enjoy the video, consider liking the video and subscribing for future Opera Omnia content. Please go check out Kaiden's channel. His link will always be in the description of this video series. And with that, we are out. So thank you so much for watching, guys, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.
Take care.